Right now in Fort Wayne, the river is up about 8 feet, which is a long way to go on this tape measure. It makes these dogs better protectors than most offensive linemen. Many of them come from outside of Grable, specifically near Headwaters Church, just north of downtown. City government is sort of like this watch. The face is city council and the mayor's office. That's the part that you see. Generally, they're giving you information. But all the gears and cogs behind the face that make this watch turn, that is boards and commissions that work within the city. Full House Resorts is ready to go all in on a new casino in New Haven. Taylor University's annual Silent Night game has been played the Friday before finals for the last 27 years. We were there for the game on Friday and on campus, leading up to a tradition that's really much more than a game. Taylor University in small town Upland, Indiana is relatively quiet.
I describe it as like summer camp. You kind of make your own fun because there's nothing else to do here.
And on the university's biggest basketball game of the year, it's the same. Quiet.
You don't hear anything, but you see everybody there, so I feel like calling it weird is the best way to describe it.
The silence isn't for a lack of fans.
Tickets are really hard to get.
The annual Silent Night game impels students donning all different costumes to be absolutely silent until the 10th point is scored by the Trojans.
You get to that 8th point, you got people that are like on their hands and knees, like ready to, like they look like linemen.
And they have to be ready, because watch what happens when that 10th point is scored.
Up ahead, Parlberg with a dunk!
Man, it's like a huge mosh pit. Might get trampled on, might get pushed out the way, just depending on who's behind you or who's in front of you.
I was in the front row, and as a little freshman, I just got totally trampled.
I will say my freshman year, I forgot that we were supposed to stay quiet, so I definitely was like talking to people.
But for students, this isn't just a one-night event.
So before Thanksgiving break, people were talking about what time they're gonna get to the KSAC, and I was like, what? It's like so far away. And so the brothers went, I think it was Sunday night.
5 days before the game, students were already camped out.
We've just been waiting ever since. Like, we bring games, we bring snacks, we set up sleeping arrangements.
It's tradition for students to camp out days in advance so that they can secure the best spot in Odell Arena.
Last year we had Mario Kart, but we kept blowing the fuse, so this year we're going to take it easy.
And just outside Odell Arena, in the Kessler Student Activity Center, the girls of 3rd West Olson are in prime position.
We've been waiting in line anxiously. We're first on this side.
They'll take shifts sleeping and holding down their spot.
We have a Google Sheet that you just sign up for the times. It's like every hour of the day.
All while trying to study for finals.
You don't really get a lot of work done, even though you really need to.
The floors at Taylor are tight-knit. They show up to the game dressed together.
And everyone looks amazing. So I was sitting there and I was like, wow, I'm so proud. Like, proud mom, but like proud friend.
And they try to get to their spots together.
Once they open the doors and like once they like let everyone inside, it's just like a stampede of like buffaloes. Like that's what it reminds me of. And like the scene of The Lion King, that's literally what it reminds me of.
After all the craziness of trying to get the best spot and storming the court, the night ends in a surprising sign of unity.
It's the incredible combination of a wild and fun night, but also a very focused community, focused on the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Here on Broadway, just south of Jefferson Boulevard, there's a lot of great businesses to explore. Looking for great art? Well, there's the O2 Gallery. In the mood for something to drink or eat? Well, you're in luck there as well, as the Brass Rail sits right on Broadway. But heading even farther south, you're gonna find a business like Aaron's Fine Rug Gallery, but to enjoy all of this, you probably need a place to park.
Across the street at Wilton Van Buren, there is a public parking lot of about 40 spots.
And that lot has worked great for local businesses for years. But on Monday, they received a concerning email.
Yes, the parking lot is being transferred to a not-for-profit organization.
That email came from Fort Wayne Director of Public Works, Sean Gudawardena. His email says that the lot was transferred to Wellspring. It continues to say that Wellspring will own the lot, but will allow it to continue operating as a public use parking lot.
It's confusing, it's difficult to get the information.
Fearing that the lot might be lost after it's transferred, Dane Leitch did what he could.
I went to City Council on Tuesday night to ask what was going on. None of us had really heard about the process.
WANE 15 asked for clarification today on what's going to happen to the lot and received this statement. Records show that the city owns the lot right now, but this statement puts the emphasis on Wellspring to find a mutual agreement for parking.
The mutual beneficial agreement is, so we want a parking lot that we can all use as public city parking. Okay. We've got that.
Ultimately, Leitch isn't mad at Wellspring. He's just confused as to why small businesses weren't given a heads up.
We just want to be part of the conversation.
It's uncertain when that property will be transferred into Wellspring's possession, but right now on WANE.com, you can read all the emails and statements we have from the city. Ethan Dahlen, WANE 15 News.
The county population gets ready to break the 400,000 mark. 15 finds out has learned that number could have far-reaching impacts. WANE 15's Ethan Dahlen answers why.
200 years ago, when Allen County was founded, those first county commissioners had their meetings right here at the corners of Barr and Columbia Streets at the Ewing Tavern. Their conversations would fill the Oaken Room as they dreamt of a prosperous county, and looking around today, that dream has come to fruition. The largest county in Indiana is nearing 400,000 residents, a number that is impressive on its own, but under Indiana code, breaking that threshold may be one of the most transformative moments in Allen County's 200-year history.
Once you hit that threshold in terms of population, it changes the composition of your local government.
When a county in Indiana hits 400,000 residents, it undergoes a big change.
Both the structure of the legislative branch itself and create a real legislative branch separated, and it'd just be a culture change too.
Right now, county council only holds the power of the purse. They approve fiscal decisions. Well, the county commissioners are both the executive and legislative branch. They make legislation and then enforce it. But we found out that changes when a county hits the 400,000 resident threshold. The powers get split.
When you have the powers consolidated in your commission, right, that they provide both the executive and a legislative function, right? A lot of times we talk about them as doing everything.
This separation of powers was codified in the 80s in order to help out Lake County, but it still exists in the code today.
That's the thing, is that these areas of the code were written because there were special needs in St. Joe County and in Lake County. And they've ended up in there just size-wise because they didn't want to put the name of the county in there, but then suddenly we're on top of it.
Whether it was intended to apply to other counties or not, Allen County is approaching the threshold, and some county council members think the change will be for the better.
Our founders designed a government that moves slow. Look at Congress. It moves, sometimes glacially, and that's not a bad thing. So, because we don't want rash, quick decisions. Under the current system, we have some of that.
The big takeaway is the splitting up of powers, but the county will also have to redistrict.
Both the council and the commissioners are redistricted for the next election. That happens by a state appointed board.
This is what the current district maps look like for Allen County. The commissioners will be redistricted, but will remain with 3 districts. County council, however, will see big changes, losing their 3 at-large spots and going from 4 districts all the way up to 7.
It remains at 7, but it's 7 districts and no at-larges.
The changes reach into the dustiest corners of Indiana code, impacting how unclaimed bodies are disposed of by the coroner and how a change of venue in a court case is handled. But before we go throwing away how things are currently done, we have to cross the finish line without it being moved.
As we understand the statute is once we hit 400,000 and once there is a certified census of that 400,000, the shift happens.
Given that it's been so long since we've implemented it, I'm not sure how they would approach that. It seems that you would do something more immediate than wait until the next census, because that wouldn't be complete until 2031, and then we wouldn't have the final data really. What you're talking about for several years.
Allen County commissioners have a different interpretation of the state code. They don't think they have to worry about changes until 2031. That's after the next decennial census. Whether or not they're right doesn't change the fact that soon Allen County will break that threshold. And that means that county commissioners, county council members, and maybe even the state legislature have to decide how and when Allen County's government will forever change. For 15 Finds Out, I'm Ethan Dahlen.